Okay, here with Jody Brown for Wings TV after the defeat to Nuneaton today. Jody, obviously, given a couple of hours now since the defeat, what's your overriding emotions on today's game, Jody?
Obviously, very, very disappointed with the end result, and I'm quite disappointed with the performance as well. I think that we've been making steady progress in the majority of games since I've managed to bring in my own players and start implementing my own methods. But today, I can't sort of honestly look you in the eye and say that I felt we played well, because I don't think we did play well today. But I think that's probably the first time in 4 or 5 games that I can say that it hasn't been as a result of officials' decisions or individual errors. I think today Nuneaton worked a little bit harder than us, and in the end got their rewards.
Why is that, Jody? Because obviously the players and everyone knew how important today's game was, and what a win would have given to us. So what do you put that down to?
Well, it's a very hard question to answer. I felt as though we've had a very good week preparation-wise. I've been telling everyone all week how well I feel prep's gone and how much we were looking forward to this game. Sometimes you have to give a little bit of credit to the opposition. I'm not saying that they played really well, but they worked very, very hard. And the goal they scored came from simply working harder than us. They managed to clear a goal-scoring opportunity that we had, and 5 of their players broke, and only 2 or 3 of ours managed to recover and get in. That just comes down to heart, desire and hard work. And, like I say, sometimes you have to give the opposition credit for how hard they worked. Let's not forget they're on the back of quite a good run. They beat Gateshead away 1-0. They held Kidderminster at home last week in the televised game, and I think anyone who saw the game would say they deserve to beat Kidderminster. So they're a team who's probably relatively confident at the moment against a side that isn't massively confident, but we did go into the game with a lot of belief because of our recent performances.
So obviously you mentioned maybe a lack of desire. Obviously that's a worry, because obviously we're now in a relegation scrap, and we're going to need every heart and desire to get out of that. So how do we turn that around?
I wouldn't say that there's a lack of heart and desire. Maybe I've misworded that. I'm just saying for the goal.
Sure.
It's a flat out race from one penalty area to the other, and 5 of theirs beat ours. We managed to get 3 back in behind the ball, and there was still a bit of an error where we failed to clear it when we had a perfectly good opportunity to clear it, and they scored what was really a scruffy goal. What I was trying to say is I think the goal, as opposed to coming from good play, the goal came from effort and athleticism, running from one box to the other quicker than we did. It was a game of few chances. It was a game of very little quality. But if you're out on the pitch, you realise the surface was extremely poor. There was a crosswind which made it very hard. In recent games we've controlled possession and we've played good football, and it was very hard to do that there. And we prepared for what we thought was going to be a scruffy game and a hard game, and unfortunately we fell the other side of the one goal. But like I say, we're not the only team that's succumbed to Nuneaton recently. Gateshead and Kidderminster have. Who arguably are in a lot better position than we are at the moment. I don't want to make too much of this defeat. You talk about the run we're on isn't a great run. I do feel as though we're improving. We've yet to be able to put our best 11 on the football pitch. Jake Gallagher's 5-game suspension, which I don't even feel he deserved to be sent off, but we're now suffering. That was a game tailor-made for Jake Gallagher today, a battle in a swamp, to be honest, and Jake would have won tackles, won headers and driven his team on. We didn't have him. Anthony Jeffrey, that's the first time we've been able to play him for 90 minutes, and I think when people sit back and reflect, when they look back at the game, they'll see that Anthony Jeffrey actually created a few chances for us and created a few chances for himself and had a good game and gives us something to build on. There was some good individual performances out there, but there was some that on the day weren't quite good enough.
Dominic Vo's come off early again. Obviously, I personally felt he was showing a lot of attacking intent in the game. What was your reasons for bringing him off after about an hour?
Oh, listen. I heard the whole crowd sing that I don't know what I'm doing when I took Dom Vos off. What I say to everyone who was singing that and everyone who wants to ask me that question is watch the game back, and then ask me it again. I'm not gonna criticise the player now, but watch the game back and come back with that question again. Tell me what he produced and whether or not he was. You talk about heart and desire, whether or not he was showing enough of that on the day. And a number of times that he left us in a bit of trouble by giving the ball away in our own third of the pitch. I don't think he was having a great game today. He has been outstanding for us, but you don't just leave players out on the pitch because of what they might do when it's blatantly obvious in front of you that they're not doing it.
Yeah, obviously sitting in the press box, we could obviously hear the chants coming from the away fans today. Can you understand the fans' frustration and concern at this moment in time, Jody?
Well, yeah, if I was a fan, I'd be concerned by results, but I'm not a fan, am I? I'm an educated football person, so I know that the situation that I inherited, that the rest of the staff inherited, 12 senior players, 2 of which were goalkeepers. With the start-stop nature of what we've inherited, we had 4 games in 9 days, then we had 2 weeks without a game. Now we've just had another 2 weeks without a game. We've had suspensions. We've inherited a squad where obviously it needed work. Harry Buteman was gone, Tyrone Marshall was gone. Who were the other goal scorers at the club? The top goal scorer at the club after 30 games had 2 goals. If anyone thinks that was an easy situation to walk into, then I would suggest that they need to rethink. We're trying to find goal scorers, and for as frustrated as everyone is that I substitute Dom Vos, let's remember who actually signed Dom Vos. So obviously I believe in him as much as anyone else, but when he's not doing it, he's the same as any other player. So yeah, the fans get frustrated and they pay their money, and we were really grateful that as many as did travelled up to the game. And if they feel that I don't know what I'm doing, then that's their prerogative to feel that I don't know what I'm doing. But I've got plenty of self-belief, and I feel that we're doing the right things on the training ground. I feel as though we picked the right team today. I feel as though we made the right change when we went from the 4-3-3 to the 4-4-2 to try and be a little bit more direct given the conditions. But unfortunately, they broke from our goal-scoring opportunity and they capitalised. If that's a tactical error, then fair enough. But I think it just comes down to 5 people running faster than 3 people.
So obviously, as I say, we're in a sticky situation currently. You feel you and your management team are able to get us out of this now with 11 games to go?
Well, of course I do. I've looked at the fixtures since I came here, and of course I do. I think probably 13 points, in my opinion, would do it. Maybe 14 at a push. And there's plenty of games where we can get those points. We've proven, if you're not a teletext supporter who just watches the results come through on Twitter, if you actually come to the game, then you'll see that we outplayed Macclesfield. We absolutely battered Aldershot. Battered them. Can't legislate for what happened with the 2 goals we conceded. And that's what I'll keep telling the players. You've got to believe in the performances that we've given. I thought we played well against Chester, given the fact that we had 10 men for 60 minutes. And I thought we played well against Atherton, given the fact we were 2-0 down to 2 very, very soft penalties. When I've watched replays back, I don't even think they were penalties. Now, I can't legislate for those things happening. So, of course, I think myself, my coaching ability, Glenn's experience at a far higher level than this, as well as 2-3 years that he played for Wrexham and was extremely successful in this division. Steve, who I've brought in, who, is a good recruiter, a good negotiator, an experienced man. Stacey, who's been at the club for a long time and tells me that, we're doing things very similar to the way the previous regime did it, and the same things are happening as what happened at the previous regime. The same giveaways, the same soft goals are happening. Of course, I believe that me and my management team can get us out of this. I've never struggled with self-belief, and I think the players believe it as well. Obviously today, coming back from Nuneaton, having lost 1-0, everyone feels low. Everyone feels low, but if you threw the towel in every time you feel low, you wouldn't last in football for very long.
Just also touching on the squad, there was no Sam Corn, Louis Fazakali, or Kieran Saami in the squad. Can you just explain why?
Kieran hasn't played enough football, and he was sent with the under-21s today. He's played about 20 minutes of football in the last 5 weeks. Louis Fazakali pulled up in training on Friday, and having had two different assessments, medical assessments, it looks like he's going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks. Sam Corn, we felt today on that pitch and in those conditions wasn't going to suit him, and we found that to be correct, to be honest. Hence having to take Dominic Vos off early in the second half, like we did as well, because Nuneaton didn't allow you to get the ball down and play. The pitch didn't allow you to get it down and play, and the wind and the conditions didn't allow you to do that either. It was a difficult game. It was a war of attrition, and unfortunately, they managed to come out very slightly on top with a fine margin 1-0 victory.
Obviously, on to next week. We are on the telly. We make our debut at home anyway on BT Sport. So how does that make a difference to the game? And obviously, looking to bounce back from today.
I think when you're on the television, certainly non-league players, it always inspires them. It always raises everyone's sort of intensity and the way they look forward to the game. But we just need to get on the training ground, work harder than we have. We have to keep improving our hard work. We have to be even more cleverer. We can't leave any stone unturned. We've got to know exactly what Altrincham are going to bring. But it's a great day for the club, isn't it? So hopefully everyone involved with the club can be positive and can get behind the players, because that's what they need and that's what they deserve at the moment. They're working really, really hard, and they've been on the wrong end of a few very sort of fine margins to come away with nothing. I strongly believe that we've played well in the last 4 or 5 games. I think today it was a grind. I think if people watched the Kidderminster game against Nuneaton last week, you'll see it was a grind. If you watched the Gateshead game against Nuneaton, you'll see that was a grind. And today was a grind. We knew what the game was going to be like. Unfortunately, we came out as the losers today. But we knew the game was going to be a horrible, hard game like that. And unfortunately, we weren't able to be the ones who nicked the 1 goal and nick it 1-0. But the previous 4 games, I feel as though we played very well. And, I don't think the one performance today changes that.